So we're going to go in today on Google Earth, and we're going to see how a lot of Costa Rica has been destroyed by um, animal agriculture. So we're going to go in where I live on the South Pacific coast, and we're going to see, first off, before we get into the animal agriculture, that there is a lot of destruction being done by foreigners building $1 million mansions on the coast here. A lot of this beautiful coastal ecosystem that you see has been basically kind of destroyed by foreigners putting these little communities and when I say foreigners, it's mostly expats doing the work. Little towns being built along the Pacific coast, and it's a shame because a lot of the forest that's left in Costa Rica is on these coastal communities. And if you start to get into a place, for instance, like Corcovado National Park, you'll see that there once was a super lush, beautiful ecosystem here that probably cover most of Costa Rica. If you look at some of these national parks filled with, I think 1% of the entire biodiversity in the world now are in these, 1 to 3% are in these Costa Rican rainforest, beautiful Costa Rican rainforest that you find in the mountains, and you also find here in Corcovado National Park. But if you start to get out of this, you might see evidence of non-animal agriculture here, for instance, in the palm plantations. And this is another thing that's wreaking havoc on the coast, if not more so than some of the tourist or expat communities that are being built. Palm plantations are destroying a lot of the coastal regions in Costa Rica. But then, even more so, the thing I want to focus on today is if you start to get into the animal agriculture, you start to get into, for instance, you start to go over this southern Pacific mountain range here, and you move into the Central Valley of Costa Rica, and you zoom in on pretty much any part of this area, and you will find cattle pastures, and you can see the evidence of the cattle pastures in a lot of these lines. This is where the hooves of the cows have created these erosion. You see a ton of erosion happening for when the rain no longer has the roots to keep it together. It starts to wash away a lot of the topsoil, creating a lot of erosion and leading to runoff issues, et cetera, et cetera. This area, almost anywhere you zoom in, has been devastated by cow pastures. You might find some orchards, you might find some sugar cane, some other crops planted, but a vast majority of this, 80% of this land, is cow pasture. And yeah, this entire Central Valley here, or South Central Valley of Perezeladon, and even if you move down into Panama, almost all of the Pacific coast of Panama, just totally destroyed by cow pastures. And so this is a huge shame. What's happened in the name of animal agriculture to satisfy our taste and lust for beef mostly. But if you go to San Jose, there's a lot more urban sprawl here, but you will find it within the urban sprawl, sugarcane and things like that, a lot of which in the form of molasses is fed and mixed into animal feed. So a lot of even the crops that you see grown that isn't cow pasture is used to feed animals. Move up into San Carlos and La Fortuna, and it's totally devastated by cow pasture. What was once an incredible, beautiful rainforest, as you find here in Monteverde, has been totally destroyed in the sake of animal agriculture. You go into Guanacaste, which is naturally a drier climate, has been totally destroyed. You could see what maybe the ecosystem would have looked like. Arid as it might have been, it would have been, host to jaguars, which you find here, and all sorts of beautiful biodiversity that you find in these national parks, and lots of forest, dry forest, but beautiful forest. But yeah, Guanacaste destroyed. Now you move into Nicaragua, destroyed. You move into Guatemala. There's still some forests here, but mostly destroyed. Zoom in anywhere here in Mexico, you're going to find evidence of cow pastures. As it gets in the drier, arid climates, I mean, you might have seen buffalo roam here. So these arid climates are more suitable for bovine grazing and things like that. There wasn't much growing here in the first place, but yeah, it does destroy these natural ecosystems, which are more fragile because of the dryness. But if you move into the United States, you're going to find square after square after square. Almost everywhere you look are squares. And these squares, you'll find these crop circles, and this is all growing soybeans, corn, et cetera, et cetera. 80% of all these squares are used to feed animals. It's a very sad situation that animal agriculture has pretty much deforested and destroyed, and is probably one of the biggest factors to the destruction of our ecosystem.